You were born to die. Everything else is noise. You spend your life trying to make sense of a clock that was never meant to stop ticking. From the moment you took your first breath, time began counting backward, silently carving away at you, grain by grain. You think you're living, but you're really just waiting for the ending you pretend not to see coming. You were taught to smile, to chase dreams, to build something called a life. But no one told you that life is a machine that eats itself. You grow up believing there's a purpose hidden somewhere in the mess, something grand that'll make it all worth it. But all you find is repetition. Wake, work, consume, sleep, repeat. A cycle so dull, it numbs the part of you that still remembers you were once infinite. And so you distract yourself with screens, with people, with promises of someday. You drown in the noise because silence reminds you of the truth that you are temporary and everything you love is too. The world around you is a theater and everyone's pretending the play will never end. But you can hear it, can't you? That faint ticking beneath the laughter, the one that says, none of this will last. You were born to die, and everything in between is just distraction. You cling to meaning like a drowning man clings to air, but meaning keeps slipping through your fingers because it was never yours to hold. You dress it up with words, success, legacy, happiness, as if labeling the illusion makes it real. But deep down you know. You feel it in the quiet moments, when the noise fades, that hollow ache that no achievement, no lover, no prayer can fill. They told you to find yourself, but what they never said is there's nothing solid to find. You're a collection of borrowed thoughts, shaped by voices that came before you. You call it personality, but it's just the residue of conditioning. You wear masks upon masks until you forget what your face even looked like before the world told you how to smile. And still you chase something. You don't even know what anymore. Maybe peace, maybe purpose, maybe just a reason to keep moving. But every time you think you found it, it dissolves in your hands. The new job, the new love, the new dream, they all rot the same way everything does. Because you were never meant to keep anything. The universe gives, only to take. Always. You tell yourself you're living for something. For love, for art, for humanity. But what is humanity if not a crowd of ghosts clinging to distractions so they don't have to look at the grave? You call it hope. But hope is the prettiest lie we've ever told ourselves. It's how the dying convince themselves they're still alive. You look at the stars and call them beautiful, but they're already dead. Their light takes centuries to reach you, and by the time you see it, they're gone. Maybe that's what we are too. Dead things pretending to shine. Fleeting light from a body that's already burned out. And yet, you keep going. You keep breathing, keep moving, keep building your little moments of joy between the cracks of despair. Why? Maybe it's habit. Maybe it's defiance. Maybe you've learned that even when everything is meaningless, the act of continuing still feels like rebellion. That existing in a world that erases you is its own kind of protest. You were born to die, yes. But in between, you get to watch the sky change color. You get to hear music that almost makes sense. You get to love, even if it breaks you. Maybe that's not meaning. Maybe it's just noise. But sometimes noise is enough. Still, don't mistake it for salvation. You can decorate your cage all you want. It's still a cage. You can name your distractions goals, your fears faith, your emptiness purpose. It doesn't change what you are, a brief interruption in an indifferent universe. You can pray, scream, fight, create, but in the end, silence swallows everything. And maybe that's okay. Maybe you were never supposed to matter. Maybe mattering was the first lie you were told. A trick to keep you obedient, to make you kneel before invisible gods and impossible dreams. But you don't have to kneel anymore. You can look the void in the eye and whisper, I know what you are. Because that's what awareness is. Not comfort, not hope, but clarity. The moment you stop running from the truth and start walking with it. You were born to die. Every breath is a countdown. Every joy is borrowed. But you can still make the void echo with your voice before it takes you. You exist, briefly, brutally, beautifully. And that's all there ever was. You wake up and check your phone before you even breathe. The blue light greets you like a priest whispering a prayer you no longer believe in. You scroll through faces, words, opinions, millions of tiny performances meant to prove that everyone is still alive. You call it connection? but it's just loneliness with better lighting. You go to work or school, follow a schedule designed by people who forgot why they designed it. You trade your hours for paper, your attention for noise. Every day feels the same, but you call it progress because the calendar keeps moving. You convince yourself that repetition is purpose. You talk about dreams, but you measure them in salary slips and likes. You chase approval because it's easier than facing silence. You tell yourself you're building a future, but the truth is you're trying not to collapse in the present. You buy things you don't need to forget the things you can't fix. You decorate your emptiness and call it personality. Every purchase, every selfie, every quote you post about healing is just another prayer to distraction. You don't want truth, you want anesthesia. You fall in love and call it salvation. You pour your whole being into another fragile creature hoping they'll make the noise stop. But love doesn't save you, it only mirrors you. You look into someone's eyes and mistake recognition for meaning. Then they leave, or you do, and the silence rushes back in, louder than before. You say you believe in God, or the universe, or energy, something bigger. But really, you just can't accept that nothing's listening, so you keep talking to the dark, hoping it talks back. You light candles, repeat affirmations, manifest futures that never arrive. Faith becomes another form of distraction, hope wrapped in ritual. You tell yourself you're free, but you obey everything, trends, opinions, expectations, fears. You confuse choice with freedom, consumption with identity. You were told you could be anything, and now you are everything and nothing at once. A collage of borrowed words and filtered emotions. You post pictures of sunsets and captions about gratitude, as if beauty will hide the panic in your chest. You say you're living in the moment, but you're always recording it because nothing feels real unless someone sees it. You call this life, but it's performance art, a dance to distract yourself from the ticking clock you can't stop hearing. And every night when you lie down, when the notifications fade and the lights go off, you meet the thing you've been running from all day, your own awareness, the whisper that says, "This is it. This is all there is." You turn over, reach for your phone again, and drown it in sound, in light, in distraction, because silence feels too much like truth, and truth feels too much like death. You were born to die, and you've built an entire world to forget it. Society is just collective denial, billions pretending the same lie at once. We celebrate birthdays like countdowns don't exist. We plan for futures that no one has promised. We mourn the dead and then go back to scrolling. But somewhere inside you, a part still remembers, a small, stubborn piece that refuses to be distracted. It wakes up in the middle of the night and asks the questions you silence in daylight. Why am I doing this? Who decided this is living? And you hate it for asking because it doesn't stop. It keeps tearing at the wallpaper of illusion until the walls show cracks. That's the truth. You are not afraid of death. You are afraid that you've never truly lived. Afraid that all your moments were spent surviving, never seeing, never feeling, just enduring. You've mistaken endurance for existence. And yet, here you are, listening, which means a part of you still wants to see clearly, even if it hurts. You want to know what lies beneath the noise. You want to meet the silence without flinching. Maybe that's the beginning of freedom. Not comfort, not happiness, just the quiet understanding that you can't escape the void. But you can stop pretending it isn't there. You start to notice things you weren't supposed to. The small things first. The way people smile without meaning it. The way laughter sounds rehearsed. The way "how are you" is just noise, not care. You start to see through the surface of everything. Through the makeup, the jobs, the routines. You start to see what keeps people alive isn't love, it's distraction. You realize how much of life is pretend. Everyone pretending they have somewhere to go, pretending to have plans, goals, purpose. They talk about dreams like they still believe in them, but you can hear it, the hollow echo behind their voices, like the sound of something that's already dying. You used to think you were the only one broken, the one who couldn't find meaning, the one who felt out of place in a world that worships busyness. But then you start looking closer, and you see, everyone's cracked. Some hide it better, some drink it quiet, some drown in work, some in prayer. But all of them are trying to bury the same corpse, the knowledge that none of this matters. You watch the world and realize it doesn't want truth. It wants comfort. It wants soft lies to help it sleep at night. The The kind that says everything happens for a reason. But the truth doesn't care about reason. It just is. It breathes in your ear like cold wind, reminding you that everything you love will one day vanish, and so will you. You begin to see how the system is built. Not to make you happy, but to keep you busy. You're trained to chase things that disappear the moment you touch them. Grades, status, money, love. It's all bait, keeping you moving, so you never have time to stop and ask, why? Because the moment you stop, you feel it. That heavy silence pressing against your ribs. That quiet question that doesn't speak, but screams, what is all this for? You see people worship money like it's salvation, but even billionaires rot. You see celebrities smile under spotlights, but their eyes give them away, lonely, tired, rehearsed. You realize everyone's chasing a different version of the same illusion. And you start to hate the noise, the constant talking, the false energy, the desperate pretending that life has meaning. But silence terrifies you too, because silence is honest. It tells you what the world hides, that there's no great plan, no cosmic fairness, no promised peace, just time and death, and us running in circles trying to convince ourselves we're not afraid. One day you catch your reflection, not the reflection you pose for, the accidental one, in the side of a dark window or a blank phone screen. And for a moment you don't recognize it. It's not you. It's something ancient, mechanical, worn out. Something pretending to be you. You blink, and it blinks back. But the eyes, they look like they've seen too much. That's when you start to understand. You're not living life. Life is living you. You're the host. It moves through you, makes you feel, cry, desire, then leaves your body behind like an empty skin. You were born to die, yes. But the tragedy is that you live dying. Every breath is a small rehearsal. Every heartbeat is a countdown. And everything in between is just you trying to forget that you're temporary. So you fill the silence. You scroll, eat, talk, laugh. You keep yourself distracted. You call it ambition, love, entertainment, faith. But it's all the same medicine, doses of illusion to numb the disease of awareness. Sometimes in the middle of a crowd or when you're alone at 3 a.m., the world suddenly pauses. No sound, no thought, just that strange stillness. And in it, you remember. You remember that you are not permanent, that one day even your name will be forgotten, that everything you ever loved will be erased. And somehow, in that pain, there's peace. Because when you accept that nothing matters, nothing can truly hurt you anymore. The lies lose their color, the noise fades, and you see life for what it is, a brief flicker of awareness in an infinite darkness. You start to walk differently, slower, quieter. You watch people rushing and you almost envy them, their ability to believe, to chase, to hope. But envy fades, because you know the truth. They're not running toward anything. They're running from something. From silence, from self, from death. And you've stopped running. You're not free, but you're awake. And maybe that's worse, because now you see it everywhere, in every smile, every prayer, every celebration, that faint shadow behind it all, the awareness that this ends. Everything ends, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. There comes a point when even despair gets tired, when you've asked the same questions so many times that they stop echoing, when searching feels useless and silence stops being frightening. It just is. You start to understand there was never a story, no grand narrative, no destiny, no purpose waiting at the end, just motion, molecules colliding, stars exploding, flesh decaying. And somehow, inside that chaos, you happened. A brief spark, mistaking itself for something important. You look around and everything feels staged. The smiles, the cities, the noise, all of it layered over the same void. You realize life doesn't hide death. It is death, moving slowly enough to call itself living. Every second you exist is borrowed from the nothing that waits to reclaim you. You start to see how fragile everything is. A body is just organized rot. A mind is just noise pretending to be identity. You say I, but who is I? A memory? A moment? A collection of borrowed fears and secondhand desires? You spend your life protecting something that was never yours to begin with. And once you see that, something in you dies quietly. Not your body, not your mind, something deeper. The part that believed there was more than this. The part that thought love could save you, that art could outlive you, that faith could make you infinite. It doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, like erosion. You stop reacting the way you used to. Pain still comes, but it feels thinner now. Joy too. Everything starts to feel distant, like watching a movie you've already seen too many times. You stop saying, I want, because want implies a future, and the future is a trick. It doesn't exist, just a mirage painted on the horizon of time. You stop asking for meaning, because meaning is what humans invented to make the void look less empty. You realize existence isn't tragic or beautiful. It's indifferent. The universe doesn't care what you do with your one brief flicker. It won't remember your name, your tears, your dreams. It won't punish you for failing or reward you for surviving. It will simply continue, endlessly birthing and killing suns, as it always has. And strangely, that truth doesn't break you. It frees you, because if nothing matters, then everything does. If there's no reason, then every moment can be its own rebellion. You can scream into the void, and for a second, it echoes, and that echo is yours. You stop needing to be someone. You stop needing the world to applaud your existence. You realize you were never in competition, not with others, not with time, not even with death. You were only ever passing through, a ripple in an ocean too vast to notice you. And yet, you were here. For no reason, for no purpose. And that's enough. You start to see beauty differently, not in perfection, but in decay, in how things end, in how light fades from the sky each evening and still manages to return, not because it has to, but because it can. You begin to admire the absurdity of it all. Billions of humans building empires out of dust, falling in love under dying stars, creating art to defy silence, knowing all of it will be erased. And you almost laugh, because maybe that's the point. Not to last, but to exist anyway. You start living without expectation. You eat, you breathe, you move, not to become something, just to be. You stop praying for miracles and start noticing the small ones. The sound of rain, the pulse in your wrist, the way your breath fogs a window and disappears again. Death stops feeling like an enemy. It feels like gravity, inevitable, gentle, patient. It waits for you, but it doesn't chase. It knows you'll come home eventually. Everything does. You realize fear was never of death. It was of truth. The truth that there's no script, no higher hand guiding your steps. You are alone in a vast, unfeeling cosmos. And somehow you survived that knowledge. That's the quietest form of strength. To see the emptiness and not look away. To carry the truth like fire even though it burns. You stop worshiping permanence. You stop demanding answers. You let things be what they are. Fleeting, uncertain, beautiful in their imperfection.
Because maybe that's what it means to be conscious, to look at the void and smile anyway. You were born to die, but you were also born to see, to witness the strange, terrible wonder of existence, to stand in the middle of infinity and say, I am here. No God required, no meaning owed, just awareness, naked, brutal, infinite. And in that awareness, you find something resembling peace, not the kind that comforts, but the kind that accepts. A peace that doesn't beg for purpose, doesn't fear the dark, and doesn't flinch at the truth. Because in the end, it was never about escaping death, it was about understanding life. And when you finally stop asking why, the silence doesn't scare you anymore. It sounds almost like home. You begin to see it when everything slows down, when the noise fades and the world finally forgets to distract you. You realize how every moment you ever called living was just a trick, a brief flash meant to keep you from noticing the truth crawling beneath your skin. You were born to die. Every smile, every heartbreak, every ambition, all of it was choreography for a tragedy you were never meant to understand. They told you to dream, to work hard, to love deeply, to chase meaning. But meaning itself was the distraction. Life was never about purpose. It was about passing time without falling apart. Every goal you ever achieved only dissolved into a new emptiness. Every love you ever felt became another ghost to carry. You tried to make sense of it, but sense is a language the void doesn't speak. You start to understand that existence is nothing more than an elaborate defense against silence, a system designed to keep you busy while the clock eats you alive. You look around and see billions of people doing the same thing, pretending they're not terrified, pretending they have time. They build cities, worship gods, post smiles, buy things, fall in love, fall apart, all to avoid the one truth that unites everything, that none of it lasts. And maybe that's the cruelest part. Not that we die, but that we live knowing we will. You try to find comfort in belonging, but belonging is just shared blindness. Everyone's acting, everyone's afraid, everyone's waiting for something that never comes. You stare at your own reflection and realize even the person in the mirror is a story you tell yourself. You aren't real in the way you think you are. You're a collection of impulses, memories, and chemicals desperately pretending to be someone. You've been trained since birth to chase distractions, toys, grades, money, validation, love, and now you're too deep in the maze to remember what you were before it began. You wake up, eat, scroll, work, talk, laugh, cry, sleep, repeat, all the while feeling something vast and heavy watching you from the corners of your mind. It doesn't scream, it waits, it's patient. It knows that one day, when the noise stops and your hands finally shaking, you'll hear it. The quiet truth that none of this mattered, and yet it somehow still hurts that it didn't. You think about all the things you chased, the approval, the beauty, the control, and how they were just ways to hide from decay. You wanted to leave a mark, but everything that leaves a mark is eventually erased. You wanted love to save you, but love only makes you more aware of what you'll lose. You wanted peace, but peace is what death already owns. Maybe that's why people fear stillness, because stillness sounds too much like the end. You realize how you filled every silence with music, every emptiness with noise, every pause with distraction, because silence was never empty, it was honest. It showed you what the world really was, temporary. You start to notice the absurdity of it all, how we celebrate beginnings while pretending not to see the endings woven inside them. You go to weddings and funerals and they start to feel like the same event. You see children being born unaware of the countdown already starting. You see the elderly holding on to the last fragments of their stories, still trying to matter. And you wonder if that's all life ever was, a desperate attempt to matter in a system that forgets everything. You try to pray, but even God feels like another distraction, another name for the silence we're too afraid to face. You start to envy the stars, distant, cold, ancient, burning for no one. They don't need meaning. They just exist until they don't. Maybe that's the only real freedom, to exist without pretending. But humans don't know how. We need purpose the way addicts need poison. We keep swallowing illusions because reality tastes too bitter. You begin to laugh at how fragile everything is, how one heartbeat, one breath, one random second decides if you stay or disappear. And yet we act like we're eternal, as if our choices echo beyond dust. You see now that everything you feared losing was never yours. You never owned love or time or even your own thoughts. You were a visitor here, pretending to belong. You were given a body, a name, a story, and told to make something out of it before the lights go out. And maybe that's all you ever did, try to make noise before the silence wins. You wonder why it still hurts to let go if nothing ever mattered. Maybe pain is the only proof that you are here. Maybe the ache itself is what makes you human. The awareness of the end, the refusal to stop caring even when you know it's pointless. You start to see that nihilism isn't emptiness, it's clarity. It's the acceptance that there was never anything to lose except the illusion that there was something to hold. And somehow that realization doesn't destroy you, it quiets you. You stop begging life to make sense, you stop fighting the current. You watch the world spin,
people laughing, crying, hoping, and you feel an ache that's both love and grief. You realize how fragile it all is, how short the light lasts, and how beautiful that is in a way. You begin to understand that maybe life wasn't supposed to be escaped or explained, only witnessed. That maybe all the distractions were mercy, small flames to keep you warm before the cold takes everything. And now, standing here stripped of illusion, you can finally whisper the truth. Everything you ever loved was a distraction from death, but maybe that's what made it worth loving. You were born to die, but before you do, you got to feel, to see, to want, to break, to hope. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all it ever was. And now that you know, you can finally stop running. Because the end was never waiting for you, it was walking beside you the whole time, disguised as life.